Burning Godzilla. These are all of the monsters, all the kaiju that you can play as. Each and every one of these are monsters you play as. I won't be playing as all of them, but I will be playing as some of the better ones. 2 of the better ones, to be more precise. So I'll be doing that in Invade. One of them I will be playing in normal mode, and the other I will be playing in hard mode. So I'll be doing normal mode next, and I'll be doing that as this guy, Destoroyah, who is also from Destroy All Monsters Melee.
A kaiju has appeared. It's Destoroyah. All units, proceed with attack phase.
Now, personally, in Destroy All Monsters Melee, I thought Destoroyah sucked. I hated playing as Destoroyah. I thought his moves were bad, I thought his movement was way too clunky, I just didn't like how he played at all.
One thing I do know is his horn being thing is annoying to deal with when fighting him.
That too. But here, in Godzilla PS4, they fix all the problems with Destoroyah and they actually make him fun to play as. He's still clunky though, but at least he has a faster way to get around with this flying attack. Swings his tail, and that actually does a lot more damage than you would think than it appears it does at first. And his horn attack, it's still here. It's actually been reduced down to both a special attack and to his normal attack. And we got Batra again.
Because they shoot him. The Battle of the Horn.
Third squad, begin your assault.
Now, I need to point out, I'm going to be turning around with Destoroyah very slowly, because the only monster, and this is the stupidest thing about this game, the only monster that has a 180 turn is the Hensei Godzilla, which is the one we just did in Go Ashore. He's the only one that has a 180. You cannot do this with any other monster. At least, I think you can with, like, the other versions of Godzilla, but any other monster? Nope, they don't have a 180. It's only Godzilla. So, if you want to turn around, you gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Also, you probably noticed that unlike Godzilla, Destoroyah only has one temperature gauge bar. That's because I haven't upgraded Destoroyah completely. So this is an incomplete monster that I am playing as. Every monster except for like the first 4 or 5 I haven't upgraded all the way yet. I'm currently working on Rodan, which I don't remember how annoying Rodan was in Destroy All Monsters Melee.
Let's see about him. He would sometimes spams his beam attack, and he flies around. You gotta chase him.
Yeah, that's right. He's still kind of like that, actually.
He's just, I kind of like it how he is a kaiju, but he's mostly like a pterodactyl.
Yep, that's exactly what he is, actually.
Fourth squad, begin your assault.
He's a mutant pterodactyl.
Pretty much. Oh, hi, kitty. Kitty. I got Hi.
I screwed up. So the one thing that sucks at Destoroyah is that until he gets to a certain size, it's gonna be near impossible to get rid of helicopters. Unlike Godzilla, who had an atomic blast to get rid of everything around him in the immediate area, Destoroyah doesn't have that. The only thing he has is his swirly little samba dance, which he shoots his laser beam around like crazy, and then he has a beam of purple energy that he breathes. That beam of purple energy is your best way of getting rid of helicopters. Sadly. Until he gets big enough, that's the best way to get rid of helicopters, unfortunately. You don't really have much of another way. So until the helicopters stop moving, and they just kind of stand there and take it, that's just kind of like your best bet of getting rid of them. I don't know how many. I need to destroy one more. I can sit around for like 1 second and let this charge up and get one more helicopter. Fortunately, for the most part, they don't actually have you destroy helicopters all that often, which is the only good thing about that. But it's the one thing that sucks about Destoroyah, is that to destroy helicopters, that beam is your only chance of getting them until he's big enough, because eventually when he gets really big, he's going to be able to destroy helicopters without having to do anything. But I consider Destoroyah to be one of the more powerful kaiju in this game. Not the strongest. But I do personally think I consider him to be the 3rd strongest. I don't know if I put him above or below Godzilla, but I definitely put him somewhere in the top 3. With Godzilla and Destoroyah as a tie for second, because I'm not actually sure who I would put in second place. So, do I want to go through easy to get to medium, or do I want to go through hard to get to... I'm going to go through easy, because I'm going to do to get to medium, and then I'm just going to go straight through hard with a 3rd monster. With the 3rd monster that I want to showcase.
Oh no, we got him to deal with.
Only for 2 stages, and then we're swapping off to the medium guy, who I haven't showcased. So this is just to get Destoroyah up to a decent level before I hit medium. Or should I say normal?
Commence the operation at once.
Because we've heard this, because I decided to let this play when we did Go Ashore, I'm going to be skipping most of the stuff. If it's a monster we've seen before, then I won't skip. If it's a monster we haven't seen before, then I won't skip their special cutscene. But if it has, I'll skip it because we already saw it. For the most part, if I can skip it and we've already seen it, then I will skip it for this, just to cut a little bit on time, because they will replay a lot of similar cutscenes that we've already seen in Go Ashore that are just slightly different because we're not playing as Godzilla.
One generator has been destroyed.
For the most part, like, the planes will just literally run right into you. Because Destoroyah is actually bigger than Godzilla. Even though it says he's the same size, he is bigger than Godzilla. Ah!
You was thinking destroy all monsters melee. He can actually destroy. You think he can fly with his wings, but he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't really fly here either. He just kind of zooms off into the distance. Right him. But
There's one neat thing he does, and melee. he can actually grab you by his tail.
ETA in 6
Yep. That's actually a reference to the movie that he's from, which is Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. But in Godzilla vs. Destoroyah was the first Godzilla movie I ever watched that I was actually upset at watching. And it wasn't because I didn't like the movie or because it was bad in any way, form, or fashion. It was because it made me cry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah actually brought tears to my eyes. And I need to point out that I was a little kid. I was maybe 7 years old, maybe younger when I watched this. Somewhere around there. When I watched Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. I loved Godzilla. I still do. But I really loved Godzilla. Godzilla was practically my role model at the time. Like, I always saw Godzilla as a good guy. I never watched any of the Godzilla movies where Godzilla was a bad guy. Godzilla vs. Destoroyah was the first time I actually watched one that was kind of like that, but I still technically considered him a good guy, that he was just going through some issues, because Godzilla was actually where Burning Godzilla is from, which is from Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. He turned into Burning Godzilla in that, and he was running around, and people were trying to figure out what the hell to do with him. And in that movie, Godzilla is actually technically chasing around his son, known as Little Godzilla. And what happens is, when Destoroyah actually shows up, he actually does do that grab thing where he grabs, in Melee, except he grabs Little Godzilla by the neck and drags him across the city.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's child abuse right there.
Yeah, really it is. But here's the thing, but that wasn't what made me cry. What made me cry was after Godzilla defeated Destoroyah. When Godzilla beat up Destoroyah, the military did exactly what they did at the end of going ashore. They decided they were going to freeze Godzilla, but instead of freezing Godzilla, Godzilla melted!
Oh.
Oh.
Wicked Witch of the West and type fashion.
Oh no, it was a lot more morbid than that. Godzilla literally had his flesh, his muscles, every part of his body just melt off into a puddle of ooze onto the ground, and only his skeleton remained standing after he was frozen from the military. And Baby Godzilla, or Little Godzilla as he was called, was supposedly dead, killed at the hands of Destoroyah. So my young 7-year-old, somewhere around there, heart was destroyed, knowing that Godzilla had been murdered by the military to save their own lives, by having him melt apart into technically bloody atomic pieces, and then Little Godzilla wasn't even alive to take his place. I was so distraught that I actually ran out of my room, crying full blaze into my parents' room, saying, "They killed him!"
Oh, you poor thing.
I was so brokenhearted, I couldn't stop crying, even after I was brought back into my room to finish watching the movie, and it was revealed that Little Godzilla actually did survive and ended up evolving into a bigger Godzilla. I was still distraught and crying after the fact. And I couldn't, I think I cried for the rest of the day.
No words can describe that a child's heart is broken from a fallen hero.
Yeah? I blame Toho for this. But... And the sad thing is, I haven't watched Godzilla vs. Destoroyah since that day, and I still have the VCR tape. Most of the Godzilla movies I still have are in a VCR tape. I want to get them on DVD if I can, but not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to, but I'm gonna try. And yes, even Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. And I do plan on one day watching it again. Because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be as depressing as it was when I was little, but you know.
I never did see any of the Godzilla movies, except for that one that people despises. But also, I did see the ones that the new one that the U.S. made. I think it's great.
Yeah,
and
the
I
one
can't wait
by,
to see.
one by Legendary.
Yeah, Legendary. So, but I think I've seen glimpses of this. I mean, I think I did try my best to watch Godzilla movies, but I never get into them. I just don't know why.
Stationary guns have ceased operating.
I guess it just doesn't appeal to me as much, but I think Godzilla's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, Godzilla's the best. It's actually funny because I was so young, I was never allowed to watch like horror movies or monster movies, but I was allowed to watch Godzilla. I don't know how I got into Godzilla or like what caused me to want to watch it. All I remember is that I just really started watching it.
Well, it's a monster movie, but it's not like, you know, traumatizing, like, you know, like blood and gore and people's limbs laying around or severed heads and very scary music playing from the killer that's gonna come and get ya type stuff.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that that's how Godzilla actually was originally. It wasn't like super blood and gory, but it was originally to be a horror film, as the first Godzilla film, 1954 Godzilla was originally made to represent the atom bombs and the atomic destruction that happened thanks to the bombs that America dropped on Japan. That was Godzilla's original purpose, was to represent a living embodiment of the horror of that, yeah.
The Hiroshima bomb of World War II.
Yep. That's what Godzilla was a living embodiment of. He was a monster created by the atomic destructions of that creature come to destroy Japan. That was his original purpose, and he was meant to be terrifying. He was meant to be horrifying. And even in the second Godzilla movie, Godzilla 2, The Return, I think it was actually just called Godzilla's Return, which was technically Godzilla 2, the sequel to Godzilla 2000, I keep saying 2000, 1954. That was also meant to be absolutely terrifying and traumatizing. But eventually, going into the history of all this, Toho actually saw the marketing that came from this and how people actually liked it, and in a sense, it actually ended up turning Godzilla into a home brand where he ended up becoming a lot more friendlier, and Godzilla ended up becoming more of a peaceful type creature as well as destructive from time to time. So yeah, if there are ever any movies that were seen where Godzilla was actually good instead of evil, that's the reason why, is because they saw the what they could do with actually making Godzilla a good guy. And that's Godzilla, and that's basically a pretty good interpretation of Godzilla vs. Megalon. Because Godzilla was technically a good guy in that, as he was friends with Jet Jaguar, which was a friend of humans. Also, hi Mechagodzilla.
He just showed up in the flame.
Yep.
It's Mechagodzilla.
As you will see in the name at the top, it's not the same Mechagodzilla that we fought when we were going ashore. It's Mechagodzilla 1, not Mechagodzilla 2. Yet, it looks exactly the same. Mechagodzilla is from Godzilla, I think it's from Godzilla and the Terror of Mechagodzilla. And Mechagodzilla was originally had a skin of Godzilla over him to make him appear as Godzilla even though he was not. And he even ended up harming Godzilla's friend Angerless by actually opening his mouth and tearing out his teeth, causing him to bleed. Yes, this was in the movie.
Oh. brutality as fun as.
Although it looked a lot like melted Jello than it did blood, but you know, whatever.
Oh, is he? What was he? Yeah, is he the spiky boy?
Yeah, he's a spiky boy.
I remember one of his moves that he can actually roll.
Yeah.
In melee. I like that one.
I'm actually disappointed that that's semi out of this game. Instead of being able to roll, he digs underground and then shows up above ground and does a gigantic like somersault into them. He still has the attack where he jumps backwards and thrusts his back into you. Out of all the things that they kept, that's the one they kept.
Stationary guns have ceased operating.
What's his name again? I have a hard time remembering.
Angerless.
Angerless, yeah. He's my second favorite of the kaiju.
Yeah, I like Angerless too. My only problem with Angerless is that he's so tiny.
Oh.
But I like him though. He is a good monster. It's just he's so little.
Like a little hedgehog.
Yeah. Angerless is actually a mutated God, what is it? He's actually a mutated Ankylosaurus.
Ooh.
In case if you were curious. There's a building I met. There it is. I see you. Look at you, Crane. You thought you could get away from me? Die. Did I get the bonus? I did not. I am a few away. So let me go ahead and get the bonus real quick. Nyeh. That's 3. So 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's see. This will be 16, 17, and 18, and then I only need one more. Bop, bop, and bop. And then there's some over there. I'm gonna hit the wall. I'm just gonna fly and whack. There we go. He's invincible. Oh my god. Whee! He does get around, Destoroyah does get around a lot faster than Godzilla. The only downfall is that it has a slow startup and a slow, downfall. Like, when he stops, it's slow too. But it's pretty fast all considered. Ah! Stop making me ragdoll!